Hello everybody, I am the Wandering Bard, and this is another Cybergamer DOTA2 ladder shoutcast. This time between Vires Gaming and Thrift Shop Gaming for one of the top spots on the ladder. So we're bound to see an exciting match, as you can see. We've already begun the draft. I will not actually be casting from inside the game this time, so we'll just have to rely on this recording rather than the replay, but already bans and picks already pretty much out. Thrift Shop Gaming just deciding on their last hero. We already see pretty standard bans. Nothing too out of the ordinary, just high tier heroes. Notably Magnetor, Nyx Assassin, Undying and Batrider being removed. Key heroes for particular strategies, as well as Bounty Hunter. And we see some really interesting heroes being picked up. Vires Gaming going with the relatively standard Sven, Darkseer, and Queen of Pain, but also Shadow Demon and Disruptor, while Thrift Shop Gaming picked up Keeper of the Light and Phantom Lancer, as well as Bane Elemental, Tinker, and Storm Spirit, all in the same team. So we're definitely looking at a Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer, Bane Elemental tri-lane, along with Storm Spirit and Tinker to solo, while Vires Gaming look to have Darkseer solo and Queen of Pain solo mid, with Disruptor and Shadow Demon probably tri-laning with the Sven, but they could also have the option on roaming supports both Disruptor and Shadow Demon, relatively powerful with that low-level roam. So we now wait for the various members of each team to pick up their heroes. I'm new to casting both these teams, though I've heard of them by reputation, so I'm not sure which players will be taking which heroes, but
10 seconds
we already see, for Vires, we see Dicey on the Shadow Demon, Veloci on Queen of Pain. I'm just going to call him Paw, well that might be Bear Paw, on the Darkseer. And we see HKS Power on the Disruptor and Up 2 on the Sven. While for TSG, Thrift Shop, we see Fibonacci on the Phantom Lancer, with the Bane Elemental, Tom piloting the Storm Spirit, team captain, I believe, Say No on the Tinker, and Father Bear on Keeper of the Light. How appropriate. This is likely to be protecting his cubs, or carry. They also have the stylish Treasure Chest Courier. Very glamorous. As now we do see that that tri-lane start to move out. Father Bear on the Cuddle, just moving to Plan of Ward before heading down to join Phantom Lancer and Bane Elemental in the bottom lane. So no level 1 shenanigans it looks like. Both teams just moving to their established lanes. And yes, it is rather the predictable setup. For the first time in a couple of casts, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing a tri-lane versus tri-lane lane, unless there's some very fast rotation from one team or the other. Both tri-lanes moving to their respective safe lanes, just looking to farm. So we're going to have Darkseer for Vires and Tinker, it looks like, for TSG, going up against the enemy tri-lane. And I think Darkseer might have the better time of that, although Tinker, already with level 1 March of the Machines, clearly just going to take a similar passive farming role, probably going to be stacking up those Ancients or having someone stack them for him, and hoping that being able to quickly destroy those once he maxes out March of the Machines will recoup him any gold that he loses out from playing this very difficult 1v3 lane. Rune looks like spawned at top. It's a haste. HKS Power just sitting on top of it as the Disruptor, holding it in case he gets an opportunity to gank mid. He hasn't put any points in his skills yet, so there is the possibility he could gank. Maybe he get the kinetic field or his nuke. He does pick up the haste rune now. Running towards mid. No. He's actually heading across the bottom where we already see, wow, a first blood attempt. I actually missed on Paw on the Darkseer. Must not have been expecting the tri-lane. Clearly ate the Nightmare into Illuminate combo and lived on the barest skerrick of health. Now we see HKS Power on the Disruptor, moving hastily into that lane, and just landing some auto attacks on Fibonacci's Phantom Lancer, doing something with that rune. He has skilled up his Q now, so he has the nuke available, doesn't cast it though. I'm not sure whether he'll be now making this a 2v3 lane, and just leaving Dicey and Up 2 on the top, considering they know it's the Tinker solo, or whether he'll be just babysitting this lane while Darkseer is back at base, and then returning to top lane once Darkseer comes back. Well, at least the trip back to the base gives Paw some time to acquire the recipe for his Soul Ring, so that's one less time he has to use a courier or take a trip back. And we do see Sano finally moving towards the lane at level 1 on the Tinker. Oh, actually paused before heading to his lane to already cast a first wave of marching machines across the Radiant Neutrals, Radiant Ancients. And we see him greeted warmly by Sven with a Stormbolt, which knocks off almost half his health. Up to taking some damage of his own, tanking the tower. And it looks like he's actually been abandoned by Shadow Demon as well. So I mentioned that Vires' support's very capable at roaming, should that be called upon. And sensing that the Tinker really isn't going to pose too much trouble for Sven in lane, especially since he's already at level disadvantage, they've left him in favour of assisting bot lane. And in the case of Shadow Demon, putting a ward in the Ancient Camp to prevent that Tinker stack. So, fast moves by Vires Gaming to put a stop to that potentially dangerous strategy. Now we see the invisible Shadow Demon. He's got a rune sitting in mid lane, and this could be a dangerous time for Tom on the Storm Spirit if he doesn't guess what's happening. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, we see 2v3. Thrift Shop already stacking the pull camp and pulling the wave there. But Vires, with the two heroes now in that lane, feel like contesting it. HKS gets slept though. Father Bear already charging up the Illuminate. They release the Nightmare. It's going to hit Fan Lance as well. HKS dropping very, very low. 130 hit points, but gets away. There's no follow-up from Thrift Shop. They defend their stack though. So that's good of them. Tinker now going to realise that his Ancient Camp's been watered as he pulls out that camp with March of the Machines, but obviously no new creeps spawn. He hasn't actually gone back to check though, so I'm not sure whether he's immediately realised that Ancient Camp didn't stack that time. He might have a rude awakening if he heads back there at the next spawn time, only to find no extra spawn of creeps there. And we actually see First Blood going down on the bottom lane, Poor killing off Father Bear, so despite that strong harassment and fighting coming out from TSG, First Blood drawn by Vires on that bot lane, and HKS going really hard in on Ohm on the Bane Elemental, dives the tower to get the nuke off, but just goes down. Father Bear had teleported back in the lane, just charging the level 1 Illuminate and a Phantom Lance from Fibonacci. There wasn't really sort of an element of surprise there. HKS must have, saw what was going on. Must have just assumed he could get out. Maybe, I think he got blocked by creeps a little bit, but just died somewhat strangely there. So the kill goes straight back to TSG. So the courier now flying out to Velocity on the Queen of Pain. Looked like I might have delivered him a magic wand there, as he bottles the haste rune and immediately heads back in towards mid. Dicey on the Shadow Demon's already moving in, so this is great timing for them. Tom hasn't suspected anything yet on the Storm Spirit. Velocity's bottling up as he goes, but he runs into a creep wave, and Dicey finds Tom already back at the tower, so he's going to eat a lot of damage. He's going to have to salve up, or just eat some of his tangos. Relatively little gain there. Disruptor now also in the mid. So we are seeing this dual roam. Although HKS has level 4 on that Disruptor, while Dicey only has level 2. That's no doubt the First Blood, as well as a little bit more laning time showing there. Meanwhile, I'm interested to see the progress of up 2 on this Sven here. He's been free farming in top lane. If I look at last hits, he is well on top. He's on 28 and 12. That's 10 CS ahead of his own Queen of Pain in the mid lane. And only then do we see the Phantom Lancer on 15 and the Storm Spirit on 14. Denied. So we see on the Bane Elemental for TSG, move in the mid lane, apply a sleep to Velocity. No actual follow-up from that sleep. Storm deciding it's not really worth walking forward to drop down a level 1 Static Remnant, only level 1 Electric Vortex as well, rest of the points as usual for Storm Spirit in the passive Overload. So deciding just to leave him with the sleep there. We see another death on the bottom lane for Keeper of the Light. So Om's absence costing TSG there. As just that Darkseid with the Soul Ring looks too strong right now. The no levels in Vacuum just yet. Relies on he's got the support there to hold his enemies in place. He has leveled up Surge and Vacuum, and Keeper of the Light lacking a lot of escapes or really any hit points. Looks like he might be easy prey for that Ion Shell. He doesn't have Mana Leak yet. He's only at level 3. So he has absolutely no way of stopping that Darkseer. Apologies for missing those 2 kills. Now we see Storm Spirit starting to creep ahead of Quap in the mid lane. But in return, Velocity is doing all the rune checking. Tom is sort of just focusing on last hits and giving up rune control of the Queen of Pain, which is fair enough. Without that Storm Spirit ultimate, which he's just acquired, there's no way he can control the runes, and even with the ultimate it costs him a fair bit of mana. After which he may not want to fight Queen of Pain. So we see HKS securing an invisibility rune, just camping it while Velocity heads over there. He does activate the invis immediately, as well as getting a bottle off in time. So he has a little bit of mana here. Om is there in the trees, level 2 Bane Elemental, ironically might be a better gang target, but Velocity, realising that the Storm Spirit is still on the high ground, just screams some creeps, deciding it isn't worth losing the potential gold just to get a gank off. Now we see Velocity fighting Tom, but Ohm's right there. She blinks away in time though, so Tom to take some nasty auto attacks and Shadow Strike harassment. Queen of Pain, only one level in that Shadow Strike, leveling up the Scream, so it's not going to be a huge amount of damage, not going to threaten to kill him, but it's an annoyance. Up to some really nice Storm Bolting here as we see him continue to fight the Tinker in lane. He's gone straight for the Hand of Midas, recognizing that he doesn't really need, you know, Power Treads or a Wand or any other sort of laning items. He can just go straight for farm. Tinker is not a threat, maxing Mastery of the Machines and Missiles, has only a Soul Ring and Boots, and only 16 creeps for that Tinker. Since that Ancient Camp isn't stacked, he's given up on that, obviously. Not worth dewarding, since it defeats the purpose anyway. And instead just resolves to farm that lane solo against this Sven. He's still with strong creeps. Now we see the Illuminate here. A little bit of screen lag for me. Tom is also here. He ganks Dicey, but Dicey gets off the defensive disruption. Fibonacci now finishes him off. Poor chasing him though with the Iron Shell. Fibonacci's invisible. Poor had Surge, but actually gives up the chase. Tom's still attacking him. Father Bear doesn't have mana, but is still sending up auto attack. The Illuminate heads out again. There seems to be a little bit of visual lag on that spell effect. Poor is going to die. He has no escape. Cut off by the Keeper of the Light. Fibonacci salves. Oh no, Tranquil Boots is up. And HKS Power left alive for Vires Gaming on the bot lane, forced to fall back there. So the kill score now 3-2 in favour of Thrift Shop. It's an important kill experience on that Phantom Lancer, which is going to really help him. I'm not sure whether he got the... he did one kill there, 1 kill and 1 assist. That somewhat makes up for his creep deficit. Sven is nearly double his creeps. So that's a worry, especially since we've seen that fast Hand of Midas up on Sven. So far, only the Tranquil Boots and Slippers of Agility on the Phantom Lancer. Now in mid again. Supports from both teams really roaming around. Om in the Bane Elemental clearly thinks that Tom needs some support against Velocity's Queen of Pain, who seems to be eternally out of mana, despite having mostly rune control, and I suppose that's having to blink around a lot. I'm just letting you know he could be anywhere at any time. Has only a smoke, Boots of Speed still in his stash, and just threatening there with the Sleep and Brain Sap to turn around any kill attempt Velocity makes, leaving Father Bear and Fibonacci on the bottom lane to farm against Poor. Poor now left alone by his team. Originally was driven out of the lane, but clearly with these kills has taken the upper hand and is relatively safe as we see Dicey on the level 4 now Shadow Demon head to the mid to support Queen of Pain. So we now see dual laning mids. And HKS took a stroll to top on his Disruptor, sitting at level 5. So neither of those supports picked up their ultimates yet. Pretty strong ults, but certainly not ones that the heroes need to be effective. As I think we just saw another ward slap down there. It's obscured by the Ancient, but you know, really nice play by the Shadow Demon so far to continue to control this Ancient stack. And yeah, there's another Observer ward. Just making sure that Tinker can't get anything more than they can possibly allow him. And meanwhile, we see HKS still sitting in top lane with up 2 on that Sven. Still clearly ahead of the game with farming. Now 64 CS at Queen of Pain's 38. Has Helm of Iron Will up, which implies probably an armlet. I'm not sure. Most Svens, if they're looking for lifesteal, prefer to go for the Master Manus just for that quick attack and move speed, rather than Helm of the Dominator into a Satanic. There are better, arguably, late game items for Sven than that. And the Helm of the Dominator just pretty lackluster on that hero unless you upgrade it, so you can only assume the Helm is for an armlet. He's got enough farm right now that, you know, he can afford to not just go for the bare bones mask into Daedalus build. Hasn't even upgraded his boots yet. Happy to just sit in this lane and say, well, Phantom Lancer's only got 33 creeps, and Sven is such a hard carry right now anyway. Vires Gaming clearly confident enough to his ability to see them out should this reach the late game, as long as they make sure he stays unmolested. It's not like they're really losing any other lanes anyway. I mean, Storm Spirit stays, you know, a bare 2 creeps ahead of Queen of Pain, but Darkseer is now even ahead of him on the bottom lane. Free farming well. He looks like he's taking some harass here, but it's only a Nightmare, which barely does him anything. With Tranquil Boots, Wand and Soul Ring now, he is pretty much beyond reproach from that team. So we see Father Bear even heading to the top lane to try and support Sano on the Tinker. Sven catching some nukes there from the rockets and probably an Illuminate as well, but it's still only about half his health. He's got regen from the Helm of Iron Will. Courier's just sitting in base. He could easily fly himself out salves if he thinks he needs anything else. And we will need to see some pretty significant commitment from TSG to this top lane if they want to dislodge this Sven. Now we see a gank going down in middle lane. Dicey has the disruption on Tom, Storm Spirit. Oh, and he gets slowed by the ultimate, trapped in the kinetic field as well as Silence. Both supports using their ultimate there, HKS and Dicey, making sure that Velocity can get the kill, and Tom just brought down there. Vires pulling out the big guns. Not much hope for him to survive. Very nice of Vires to use that ward, fall down past the Ancients, and get the drop on that Storm Spirit. So an important kill. Queen of Pain now looking to beat down that tier 1 mid tower. So lane so far looking pretty good for Vires. Tom goes to teleport back in, but actually cancels it. And Ohm, who is there on the Bane Elemental, had a DD rune. I'm not sure whether Storm Spirit intentionally cancelled that TP. It was a pretty dangerous spot for him to teleport into, but it looks like both his supports were there. In the end, both teams just sort of fall back. Vires, you know, recognizing that there are enemies about, not feeling that the tier 1 tower is worth risking anything for. They will get it in good time. And so now we see Father Bear just pushing that lane. Has 3 levels in both Illuminate and Chakra Magic now. No points in Spirit Form or Mana Leak as of yet, which is a little unusual. Though, you know, not without reason. They clearly just want this counter push right now, as well as potential damage in team fight. There are not any big fights just yet that he would need the ultimate to recall people to. And clearly TSG feel like level 1 or 2 Mana Leak is not what they need right now. Now we see possible counter gank here. Tom sitting in the bot lane, but Velocity's here on the Queen of Pain, taking the initiative, initiates on Fibonacci. There's no hope for him. He is destroyed. The dust meant that there was no point even trying to double walk. And now we see Tom stuck in the kinetic field, vacuum back into the middle of this storm. The storm fades off and he's able to ult away. On low HP, bottling up. They probably won't catch him here as he sends into the trees. Paul might try though on the Darkseer. No, it looks like they're just going to push the tower, so... falling back on the Bane Elemental. Tom now starting to move on the Storm Spirit, but he's going to be seen here. Do VG want to go on this? No, they send out Shadow Poison. They just let him go away. Velocity blinking into the trees there. Perhaps thought that the Bane Elemental was still, had not yet escaped. Looking for an easy kill. Unfortunately, it's not on offer. But still, they have that critical kill on the enemy carry. While there's Sven. Looks like he might get a kill on Say No here. He pops the ult, realizing that Stormbolt was good. Takes another swing, but cancels the melee attack. I'm not he had the armlet there on cooldown, which he could have triggered. He also could have, I'm fairly certain that if he just finishes that melee swing, no matter how far Tinker runs away, is once that melee attack started in Dota 2, it will deal damage, no matter how far the Tinker runs. I'm not sure why he cancelled it there. It probably would have killed him, but still up to, again, it's just that conservative methodology. He's having such a good game so far. Why would he risk, potentially dying if he caught a timely laser? Although Tinker has no points in laser. Against a Sen, you'd think he'd take just one, if only for the 100% blind in case of an initiation like that. But Say No, playing it fast and loose on this Tinker, realizes he has to take some risks to try and catch up. And his team now looking to counter-push that top lane. Fibonacci actually rotated top with double walk and tried to have a go off of the Phantom Lance, but up to calmly activating the Armlet of Mordigian and suddenly gaining health after the Phantom Lance struck. So they settled to just push. The Vires Gaming looked like they wanted to defend this tower. No teleports, they're all just walking in. So TSG, uncertain of exactly how many heroes are here. They don't have any wards that could have spotted them on their way in. Nevertheless, they fall back just to make sure. Fibonacci actually being recalled by the call out of Doppelwalk, so we've clearly seen some points in Spirit Form now. But if you look at the farm, Sven's almost double Phantom Lancer, and in the net worth, he is more than 2,000 gold ahead, only 15 minutes into the match, so... not looking so great just now. Now VG are going to push this tier 1 tower top, in fact, so complete turnaround what was happening before. TSG instead setting the people mid lane. Tom taking down that tier 1 tower on the Storm Spirit, even now pushing through to the tier 2. No fear, although he is a Storm Spirit with 600 mana, so he can probably evacuate himself pretty quickly. HKS is going to come now here just to force him back a little. Get him to give the tier 2 tower some respect, give it some space. Meanwhile, TSG showing similar disrespect and pushing their opponent's tier 2 top. Poor just lane presence from that Iron Shell, forcing the creeps back. Now Say No appears. Quick firing off the missiles, deploys a march with the machines, both max level. drives away the heroes and then the creeps. Now we see a combat going down. The heroes meet near the Radiant Ancients. Father Bear getting caught out. The vacuum looked like it missed there. I think it was just some visual lag. Velocity blinks on, follows up. It's going to be the Scream to secure the kill, but it misses. Father Bear must have outranged it slightly. He's still going to die though. He cannot possibly escape the Dark Seer. Now it looks like Om's going to go down as well. And the Bane Elemental gets a timely Brain Sap though to save his life. Father Bear buys back into the game. Probably going to teleport mid to try and defend Om, but instead Vires Gaming falls back. So good work by Om on the Bane Elemental there. Didn't panic. Brain Saps, retreats to the tower, stays alive. HKS now here, bravely sitting around mid lane. Sano on the Tinker, finally with those boots of travel up at 17 minutes. Pretty respectable considering the tough lane he was in and the fact that his proposed Ancient stack was pretty consistently warded by Vires. There is a Sentry Ward up there now from TSG, though too late for it to really have an effect on the game, at least for Tinker. He has his boots now though, so he will see his farm rate massively increase. He's sitting in mid lane now, firing off those missiles. It looks like he's getting ganked. Poor and Dicey there. Dicey gets counter-initiated though. Tom on the Storm Spirit barreling in Ball Lightning form and dragging him to his doom. Paul meanwhile does the tower for Father Bear. Dicey on the Shadow Demon did pick up that Tinker. And Paul now retreating from Tom. Tom doing all he can. Chakra Magic and Bottle helping him chase down with that ultimate. He is getting stack of overpowered. Paul surely dead. Again, there's a little bit of strange lag on these visual effects. That's just DOTA2. It's making it a little confusing. But when you have Illuminate and Storm Spirit Overload and Fibonacci's Phantom Lance all chasing you down and you're about 100 HP, you can be reasonably certain in calling your death. Velocity now roaming through to neutral zone. Queen of Pain has a haste rune used out of his bottle. Looks like he might want to kill in mid. Instead just runs and he's going to screen the creeps. He's just going to farm. Cannot take Coddle and Storm Spirit under tower. Knows this. Happy just to deny the rune from his opponents. Put a little bit of the scare into them. He's got 65 last hits on that Queen of Pain, so he's pulled ahead of Tom's Storm Spirit again. Tom is 2-1 and 2, while Velocity is 2-0 and 1. So probably about even there. Mid lane, hard to call an exact victor there. Paul now teleporting top on the Darkseer. Fibonacci's made this his new home. Already level 11 on the Phantom Lancer with a level 1 Diffusal Blade to add to his Tranquil Boots that he's had since earlier on in the game. So his Phantom Lancer starting to creep into the territory of hero to be aware of, or hero to be, you know, just know where he is on the map. He can probably take the Vires Gaming supports one-on-one between that powerful Phantom Lance and the Mana Burn from his illusions. Now we might see a pretty standard progression from Diffusal Blade into Heart. If you can get there first, Velocity blinking on that Queen of Pain, consistently carrying dust. There's a lot of support here from Pawpaw and Dicey. Fibonacci is going to die. Shadow Demon ult, I think, was on him regardless, but Darkseer gets the kill. I'm on the Bane Elemental, can't do much for his friend there, has to fall back. Now level 6, finally has Fiend's Grip, and Up has also swapped lanes, now moving to bot lane to farm up the enemy jungle. He is contending with Sano's Tinker and Father Bear on the Keeper of Light, who is recalling someone. And he sends off the Illuminate to chase Up2. It's on, they're all running in, but Up2 smelled something coming. I'm not sure whether he actually saw the recall or whether he just knew that his time was up in this lane, but he falls back. Does manage to catch up to him though, despite the Warcry. It came a little too late for Sven. He slept through the whole Warcry almost. But reluctant to commit to the Fiend's Grip, and that's why, as we see HKS teleporting in. Sven has a lot of HP and an armlet. He's not easy to bring down. He has got the Mask of Madness as well now. So he's looking pretty formidable. We will almost certainly see him going for a Crystallis next. And then we will really have something for Thrift Shop to fear in team fights. Already you see the damage he's putting out of those Ancients, although Tom catches him on half HP, suspects the transition there, a little greedy by Up2, moving into the Ancients only half HP when the enemy knows he's vulnerable and knows he's in the area. Tom might get counter-killed here though, Dicey and Velocity trying to do something to him. Velocity anticipates this, trying to blink up to the high ground and throws the ult, but it's actually terrible timing, and Tom ults through the Sonic Wave, taking no damage. Fiend's Grip out on Queen of Pain now. On the Bane Elemental, trying to do his best, but the Brain Sap's not enough, and he's destroyed by Paw. So Vires get a kill there, but not without a scare. And some pretty nice individual play by Tom on the Storm Spirit there, avoiding death himself and making it back to base unhurt. As we watch interesting stuff, Vires Gaming is a sort of continuing ward battle around these Radiant Ancients. Even though Tinker has his Boots of Travel up now, the stacking of the Ancients is not so critical. It's always nice to have it for your carry to farm. But still, teams trading Sentry Wards here. No obs up. Vires just trying to deny any sort of vision or map control to TSG, especially around this mid lane. The Tier 1 tower still stands, only on 190 HP, slightly out of deny range. I suspect that Vires Gaming, now Queen of Pain relatively underfarmed, but heading towards an Aghanim Scepter. We see the Sven certainly not underfarmed. 127 last hits on him. The Darkseer not building a mech, that's being left to Shadow Demon maybe, if he's not building a 4-staff. Maybe no mech just yet. Disruptor instead has gone for the Mana Boots and Wand, rather than the naked support. But still, with the amount of teamfight they have the level 2 Darkseer Wall, they have the level 2 Screen of Pain, they have these very farmed Sven, and really decent teamfight control just from the heroes they've selected. I feel like they could be pushing this mid lane if they get another gank. Certainly taking the tier 1 and tier 2 towers off of that push if they can get that nice clean fight that they're looking for. Meanwhile, they're content just to farm. Their lineup is certainly not bad late game. I'm not sure how they can contend with Phantom Lancer, Storm Spirit, and Tinker. And especially they should be worried, Vires Gaming, because if they allow any sort of farm on Fibonacci, although they're consistently killing him, Velocity again, blinking with the Scream of Pain, Fibonacci with no, there's a ward up there in the neutrals for TSG, but just clearly needs to be more careful about where he farms. He's going to go down, there's not much he can do to escape. Tom's trying to get something out of it, he's going on Dicey's Shadow Demon, and Dicey is going to die, but Tom seals his own fate as well, so 2 key heroes going down for the Thrift Shop. Velocity caught in the woods now by Ban Elemental and Fiend's Grip, but Father Bear was a little premature with the Illuminate and he missed. Queen of Pain blinks away now, Mana Leak, but manages to escape the fight. Still sitting around here, screaming in case anyone's nearby, I think. And Up 2 is going to find him in the trees, but the Bane Elemental just teleports out. Very fortunate not to die. Still a 3-for-1 engagement for Vires. Thrift Shop maybe should have just let Fibonacci die there. Queen of Pain, a very difficult hero to bring down. And it's just that premature Illuminate by Father Bear. Was not hitting the trees where Queen of Pain was hiding. Did not wait for Bane Elemental to land some sort of disable to make sure the spell hit. And that amount of damage would have killed the Quap, but instead she escapes, and Bane Elemental dies along with Tom's Storm Spirit. But, that's not a great look for TSG. And if I check the gold graph, they're now down by, nearly 10,000 gold, over 10,000 experience. Nevertheless, their late game lineup is very potent. Both Coddle and Bane Elemental, very strong heroes in the late game, and their other 3 heroes can potentially become carries. Quite hard carries as well. Whereas Vires, they do have an incredibly powerful carry in Sven, good late game supports of their own, as well as Queen of Pain who can semi-carry, and the Darkseer who's, Wall of Replica, one of the very strongest spells as the game goes on. But I just worry with the amount of pushing power that comes out of Tinker and Coddle and Phantom Lancer in the late game. Not only will Vires find it very difficult to push into the base before late game, but come late game they could find themselves losing out just through the split pushing power that Thrift Shop Gaming's lineup can generate. It's a bold plan by them. We'll see if it pays off, but they just need to last and, more importantly, get some more key items up on these heroes so that they can confidently send them a load of these lanes to split push. Right now, Phantom Lancer sort of tries to confidently go up a lane by himself. He gets dusted up and killed. Vires are proving very efficient at doing that. And now we see Up 2 providing him some direct opposition. Heading to the lane, this very beefy Sven, already halfway through his BKB. Once that comes up, TSG are going to be in a bit of strife. They have nothing to go through that Black King Bar magic immunity. Absolutely nothing. And Up 2 now, smashing Fibonacci with the Storm Bolt, just putting some damage in, knows that he'll double walk away, has no dust or any sort of invis reveal, but just knowing he can comfortably do half of Phantom Lancer's HP before he even gets that invisibility off. He's going to deny Fibonacci mana. He's going to deny him HP. Up 2 even now, searching around the tower, sees a teleport coming, war cries out. It's Tom on the Storm Spirit though, so that's not going to do nothing. He's caught out. On is actually behind him on the Bane Elemental. The Fiend Grip comes out immediately. Coddle is here as well. So it's Sven this time who gets overconfident and overextends in his lane. Very easy pickup for Thrift Shop. That is his first death, no, second death on the Sven. So 168 compared to Phantom Lancer's 87 creeps. But 2 deaths might put a bit of a dent in that. Nevertheless, he's on 11,000 net worth as we see Vires now pushing the T1 tower in mid. They are finishing that off. They didn't get the pick-off that I predicted they'd look for before pushing. In fact, it was their hero who got pushed off, but dropping the level 2 wall of replica down behind that Tier 1 tower, and the Tier 1 tower only having 190 HP. They know that Thrift Shop cannot possibly contend this. I think the Darkseer wall might even have been a bit of overkill, but making sure is the name of the game. But yeah, we already see a pretty disgusting lead on the Sven. 11,000 gold net worth for him, 9,000 gold net worth on the Darkseer, who was against a tri-lane, I should remind you, and had to go back at the start of the game, so did not get that early experience you want as an off-lane solo against a tri-lane. But just showing how strong the roaming support from VG was in securing all the lanes to them. HKS diving the tower as the Disruptor running back through not only tower bullets, but also much of the machines and almost dying, dropping to 100 HP. Not sure what he was doing there. Must have been fishing for a hero to glimpse back into the team. Very ballsy play. But yeah, even Queen of Pain has 7,000 gold, and only then do we see a Thrift Shop Gaming with 6,700 net worth on the Phantom Lancer. It's not a great look for your team. Their supports are also down by about 2,000 gold on the Vires Gaming counterparts. So Vires definitely with that lead so far, not yet a conclusive one, but still. Oh gosh, no no Thrift Shop Gaming hero. There's certainly Thrift Shop Edition now. No hero on theirs. On their lineup has broken the 300 gold per minute mark yet, while all three of those key farming heroes for Vires Gaming are above that mark, considerably above in the case of the Sven. Gold isn't everything though. As I said, Thrift Shop, very strong turtling lineup. And even now we see Fibonacci, he refuses to be cowed by these repeated dust ganks from Vires. Even though they've been effective in shutting him down, he's got 3 deaths to go with his 3 kills and 1 assist. He is still solo pushing that top lane, looking for a kill on that tower. It only has 380 health, he could do it. Now he doppel walks away as the teleport coming back in from Paw, who's just going to pick up this creep wave. Easy money for him already with the Scythe of Ice and his Soul Ring. He's had that Scythe of Ice for a while as well, and Vires Gaming taking opportunity of this. The other 4 heroes are in the Roshan pit. Velocity blinking out of it, this up 2 on the Sven with the God Strength, almost man enough to take Roshan by himself. HKS just helping it out, tapping it with the lightning bolts and sort of just being there for moral support in case TSG find out about this. But they have no vision in the area, no idea what's going on. It's unlikely they could contest it even if they did. And up 2 will just stroll away with that Aegis on top of his now completed BKB, Armlet, Mask, Hand and Treads. This is a pretty solid Sven for 28 minutes into the game. Especially when you consider that, you know, they were able to leave him alone in his lane and free up those 2 supports to secure bot lane for the Darkseer when it initially looked so bad. Big important stuff. Now the push going in on that tier 2 tower. Father Bear, we see the potency of Disrupted there, glimpsed back into the kinetic field. Almost no other follow-up is needed. Up 2 on the Sven, stunning him just for good measure. Now the tier 2 tower will go down. TSG are a little caught out. They have 2 heroes caught up above the ledge on top lane, the rest of them trapped in their base. By the time either of them rotate around to reunite, the fight will already be over. Bane Elemental walks up and sleeps, cancelling out the thing from Tinker, but he's brave. He sees Velocity now already chasing him, gets a 4-staff. He's going to be run down and killed here. There's no hope for him on the Bane Elemental. Not sure, you know, brave gesture to run in and put the sleep on the Darkseer, but surely you must understand that Queen of Pain is going to run you down with that blink. With the Aghanim Scepter up now as well as a gem. So VG looking to push this advantage, and now they're going into the base already. Up to tearing through that T3 tower. The Darkseer wall, just a giant back off sign to Thrift Shop. Bane Elemental buys back into the game. It's going to be too late. The BKB God Strength Sven, perhaps a little premature on the God Strength, but again, Vires Gaming don't plan to fight after this. They just want to make it impossible for TSG to fight. And in the time that TSG are waiting for that wall and the BKB to wear off, Sven tears through not only the T3 tower, but also the melee racks. So that's a huge loss in material for TSG. That's going to, you know, the first real shot fired by Vires Gaming, hampering TSG's mid lane push as well as their farm. You know, both elements that TSG's lineup is really focused on. Without even a team fight really needing to be had, there was one sort of unnecessary death from that Bane Elemental, and suddenly, I'd have thrown a little bit of perhaps mispositioning, and TSG could not defend that tier 3. I mean, I've heard the saying that you need a 20,000 gold lead, Roshan, Mech, and Pipe before you try and push high ground against a prepared team. Certainly one with the counter push that TSG has through Tinker and Coddle. But a little bit of misplay from your opponent can lower those requirements significantly. And now, a real threat for TSG with the Aegis still up on that Sven, and Crystal is now complete in his stash, is that they will not live in time for these, you know, powerful late-game heroes to have their full effect. Fibonacci on the Phantom Lancer, still trying to farm up a heart, now nearly has gold for the Messerschmitt's Reaver as he tears through his own neutrals, but has not had really any impact on the game so far, beyond a little bit of split pushing. even now. There are no wards for Vires up in the area. The only two obs around are TSG. But they must know, suspect that Phantom Lance is here. They go looking with the Shadow Poison. Fibonacci, though, forced to play a little more cautious after his several gank-related deaths. Already falling back with Doppelwalk when they come through. And now the Courier is flying that Reaver to him. So he needs only 1,000 odd gold for the recipe. But even when he gets that heart, that'll make his illusions tanky. That'll improve his split pushing. But with the amount of damage this Sven's putting out, as well as the power of the wall and the various disables VG can bring to bear, I'm not sure that's enough to guarantee his safety or effectiveness in team fights. He really needs to upgrade that defusal at least, or purchase another offensive item like a butterfly or a manta, before he can really start to pose a threat to this Sven and his supports. The tier 2 tower, again, falling without a fight. The rest of TSG trying to get some sort of trade-off, going for the tier 2 in mid, but the pushing is going very slowly without Phantom Lancer there. This is a weakness of them. March of the Machines and Illuminator, great, but they can't damage towers, and without their carry doing enough physical damage, TSG are really having trouble pushing that tier 2. They'll have to fall back. Now it goes down. Storm Spirit pushes to finish it off, but in that time, half the HP on the tier 3 tower is gone. The wall is up. VG have gained the high ground and set up a foothold there. Now we see the ultimate coming out from Velocity, engaging. The Fiend Script comes up, but so does the Kinetic Field and the Storm. We see Phantom Lance through Coddle already dead. Storm Spirit falling back. Tinker falling back on low mana. Bane Elemental not really falling back, but just can't go in without support. The Melee Rax is going to go down. Tom blinks back in on the Storm Spirit. Desperate. He's going to get HK. He might get Poor as well, who slept up, but up 2 recovers from his death. The power of the Aegis visible here. Tom's going to try and blink away. No Stormbolt for another bunch of seconds. Tom might die to Vacuum. Yes, he does. The Iron Shell finishing him off. They're going to lose the Rax here. Up 2's on full HP still with the, with that armlet. Doesn't have his ultimate, but he'll be able to rotate through and finish off the range rack mid if he cares about it. Say no manages to get the Darkseer there. Caught in his base a little by creeps, not expecting the Blink Dagger from the Tinker. I'm not sure whether that's new, but just dies to laser, unfortunately, with the amount of low HP he's on. But this is all really a secondary concern. Even with those pickoffs, it was a 4 for 3 engagement for VG, and they got the Rax and another tier 3 on what was an unpushed lane. And you just see how TSG's counter push is not helping them enough right now. VG, there's not really that many super squishy heroes on their lineup. Shadow Demon and Disruptor have done well in staying out of the thick of the fighting and avoiding focus, since so much fire needs to be pointed at Queen of Pain and Sven to bring them down. And we just see TSG haven't really been able to sort of turtle as hard as they'd like to. The heroes have just sort of said, well, you can destroy our creep waves, but Sven's just going to tank up the tower, and we're going to destroy your buildings by ourselves. Up 2 running around with the double damage on Sven, and now a Daedalus. So some truly frightening damage coming out on these Ancients here. Casual 1,000 damage crits. Still only 2 kills for him, but sitting at 565 GPM, he probably doesn't care. He's actually essentially doubled the gold per minute of Phantom Lancer, who is still not done with that heart after another death defending the base, and this is where we see problems really begin for TSG. They do have a mech up, although Vires Gaming have purchased one now on Shadow Demon with all that building money. Many Force Staffs out on the team. Darkseer going for a Shiva's Guard, most likely, seeing that other Mystic Staff up on him. There's just too much farm on Vires' key heroes, and TSG cannot fight and cannot, surprisingly, outpush. At this point, even if they're taking favourable trades on towers, they're still taking outer towers down of Vires Gaming, while Vires Gaming are taking Raxus. And Sano's going to get pulled out of his teleports here. Really inspired play by Poor. Surges up to the Tinker, who blinked in the trees, and says, oh no, I'm smarter than you. Next level Vacuum. Sucking the Tinker back to certain doom at the hands of Queen of Pain. That 30-second cooldown Scream is going to be, Sonic Wave is going to be up long before Sano gets back into the game. And this is the sort of thing that is probably going to cost TSG, as well as this outer tower and the tier 3, probably their last complete Rax. I think this might be a good game, even if it wasn't already leading that way, with nearly a 20,000 gold lead and a 20,000 experience lead. Dicey already starting to Shadow Poison down the creeps. Up 2 doesn't even bother with that. He's Ion Shelled, he's God Strength, he's Armlettered, he's Masked, he runs into the base and starts pummeling that tier 3 tower, catches asleep from Bane Elemental. That BKB activates now. It's a 7-second activation. Still plenty of time. 2 shots, the Storm Spirit. Fibonacci flees in terror with the Doppelwalk. This is going to be the game right now, and there's nothing Thrift Shop can do about it. Vires in a strong showing. Sven destroying the melee racks. Now moving on to the range racks, taking only a couple of shots. The rest of his team just disabling the TSG heroes. Bane Elemental dies in the middle of Disruptor team fight. Phantom Lancer falls back to the base, as does Storm Spirit, as does Keeper, as does Tinker. GG well played, called by Tom. Fibonacci's pursuing, trying to get some kills. Does manage to pick up the Shadow Demon before dying to Paw. Actually, Shadow Demon even gets the kill. And that's a 36-minute GG. Dominant performance by Vires Gaming. Very aggressive play. A couple of real, TSG did decently well in the lanes. Just some, some more timely rotations, working out better for Vires than their opponents did. Lots of action in all lanes. But even they didn't really lose bot and didn't really lose mid. Only top lane was, a bit of a wipe for TSG. And even then, their Tinker did manage to get 17-minute boots of travel, which is not a useless Tinker. And you'd imagine he'd recover very quickly from that. But VG was so good at picking off these normally elusive heroes like Storm Spirit, like the Tinker. You look, you see 5 deaths on Tinker. You see 4 deaths on Storm Spirit. You see 5 deaths on Fibonacci's Phantom Lancer. Only a few of these deaths were defending the base. At least 3 of them on each hero were them getting caught out in lanes. And you normally expect heroes like that to pick for their ability to safely split push. But VG, carrying dust on Velocity for that Phantom Lancer. Always ready to find that Tinker and chase him down. Not simply allowing him to blink away and teleport safely back to base. A couple of quick hexes didn't hurt. And Vires capitalizing on the few mistakes Thrift Shop did make and ending this game in fine fashion. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to both teams. I have been the Wandering Bard. I will be back soon enough with another game from the Cybergamer AU DOTA2 ladder. You can check that out at cybergamer.com.au. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the cast. And best of luck to these teams in the future.